And now, live from Pod Cabin in Burbank, California, it's the Alison Rosen is Your New Best Friend show. Tonight, Alison welcomes her guest. He's a producer, podcaster, veteran, Vanderpump virtuoso, brilliant Bravo buff, and jaded Jax judge. It's Rob Schulte. Tone Zone is here to announce that he will never take a Russian bribe unless it's for any amount of money. I'm her husband, Daniel, saying hop on board the Love Bus and say hello to your best friend, Alison Rosen.
Alison Rosen. Alison Rosen is your new best friend. Alison with her the good times never end. Alison Rosen, doing the wavy pencil dance again. Alison Rosen. Alison's your new best friend.
Hello, my little fried cornbreads. It's me, Alison Rosen. Welcome to another exciting Thursday episode of Alison Rosen is Your New Best Friend. That particular carbohydrate. And by the way, our microwave is broken right now, which I'll get into. So I feel like I'm having to air fry everything. So if I were to heat up cornbread, it would be fried cornbread right now.
You can use a toaster part of it, though.
I wasn't sure.
And you can bake.
I'm illiterate. I only speak microwave. So when it comes to this other device, I didn't grow up with a toaster oven. I just don't know.
I used to only have a toaster oven, and it wasn't even an air fryer, and I was fine.
I feel like you're a little bit like, I only played with Swedish wood block toys when I was little. I didn't have a television. I get it. You feel superior. I like a microwave, and we will get to that because the microwave almost took your life. We'll talk about that later. I want to say that particular timely carbohydrate was sent in on Patreon by Alyssa Wones. Yes, I am on Patreon. All sorts of fun stuff over there. You can get bonus episodes of The Friend Zone. That's my Patreon podcast. I just put one up with, was it Lizzie Cooperman? It was Lizzie Cooperman. Oh, and then one with just me where I blabbed so much about so much stuff. And then afterwards, I felt like, oh, I said too much, which I always feel. If that sounds compelling, patreon.com/Alison Rosen. And if you do an annual subscription, you get 2 months free.
That's a good deal.
While I have my hand out, I should say, my Substack. I'm spilling the Adam Carolla Show beans, bean by bean.
You've had it with keeping this stuff to yourself.
I'm tired of carrying these beans.
No more beans.
No more beans. Well, beans for them.
Yeah, let the
Bring
world
back the beans.
Is what you said. Wait,
what is that?
you made me make it, and we've played it before.
Bring back the beans.
Who said it?
I don't know, some listener.
Sounds like a caller. I recall. How perfect. You know what? It just shows that I am like a professional microcosm unto myself because I don't remember wanting that drop, but here I am triggering it.
Yeah, I feel like that tends to happen.
I know. Yeah. It's because I have limited interests. Just beans and farts. Oh, those are kind of the same interest. But anyway, my point is, that was because he wanted Daniel's Cool Beans to come back, which we all do. The public is clamoring for it.
Too much of a good thing.
Alison Rosen, nope.substack.com. Okay. I would like to say hello to my guests. Rob Schulte.
Hello.
I'm so glad you're here.
Me too.
You're in town for a special engagement.
One night only.
One night only.
Or afternoon, I guess. But
yeah.
yes.
Yeah, we are meeting at a special early time to accommodate Rob's schedule because he's a featured speaker at a college class.
I am, and no one is more surprised than me. But
he's going to talk to students.
I'm going to talk to students. I'm going to say no to drugs. But
Ooh,
in addition to that, there is a music and podcasting class. And as I was discussing before, I don't know much about music except for what I like. But I do know how to make a production schedule, and I will.
What department is this class in?
I don't know.
But is it, because music and podcasting is actually quite a range there.
Yeah.
So is it must be about production.
Yeah, I believe it's more about production because it's my feeling like they couldn't say like, let's do a podcast class and get everyone behind it. But like if we add a music element to it, more students might take it.
Right. Yeah. Interesting. Is it a big class?
I don't know. I tried not to ask too many questions to not get in my own head.
Yes, that is smart.
But I did have to give I
Got to.
gave I was lucky enough to give a what do you call it? A performance, a speech,
A talk.
a talk.
You were in conversation
Yeah.
with yourself about.
It was like a TED Talk without all the cameras.
It was a Rob talk.
It was a Rob Talk at a convention in Chicago for my day job about podcasting. So I'm just reusing some of those notes, but gearing it more towards
I think that's
Smart.
pretty normal. That's
Yeah.
pretty much what people do.
Yeah.
Some people get paid like thousands upon thousands of dollars to give the same speech
Yeah.
over
Yeah,
and over
Allison.
again.
I don't
Get on the
yet, but I would
circuit.
like to. You know what? Like for the longest time,
You could
no,
actually. You could do that.
What
for
would I talk
podcast
about?
hosting.
Yeah.
You could. You could get
Sometimes
on a
I do
circuit.
feel like I should be rebranding myself as some kind of expert because I am an OG podcaster. I have experienced podcast success. God, I hope I taste it again.
Yeah.
And yeah, I could be like, pay money to Zoom with me,
Like, you
or
could
let me
teach a
come to your
class, like,
college.
how to break into podcasting in 2011.
There's a reality show right now called like The Anonymous on Peacock, and one of the people participating in this game show, her job is podcast strategist. And I was like, could I
What?
call myself that?
Yes.
Like that sounds
Yes.
way more professional. than-
People are so shameless, and I see this all over the place. And I have been thinking about this lately about like, why aren't I more shameless?
We have too
I
much
could be.
shame. We're shameful.
Even I think there's a gray area of what like I might consider shameless that the rest of the world would consider not shameless. You know, where I don't give myself enough liberty to like boost myself up in a way that I feel like is, you know, eye rolly. So I feel like I'm trying to, but I just, it's like a suit that doesn't fit. I can't like,
Well, every time I go to post about my Substack, knowing that the Corolla beans are what seem to be attracting the most paid subscribers, that wasn't where I started. It just I just fell into it. And then I'm like, I do have pockets
you're
full
just
of
chasing
beans.
that audience.
Yeah, well, but it's I'm enjoying writing about it. I just didn't think that
Next
was
thing you know, though, you'll be writing about Russian propaganda.
So anyway, my point is whenever I go to tweet about it and then I think of saying something like I'm spilling the Corolla beans one by one or whatever, you know, I'm like, I can't say that. And then I'm like, wait, why hobble myself though?
Yeah.
If
Why
you're saying
not?
it in one spot,
Yeah.
where does that thing click in the brain that I can't say it in this spot?
Yeah.
I have the same thought. Like I have there's an app called Intro where if you're like an
didn't know about
expert
it.
in a thing, you can say like book time with me.
Oh, interesting.
And I like having it. No one's ever booked time with me.
Yet.
But it is a nice spot to like direct strangers to. Right?
Yes, I have. You know what it is? I don't mind coming off a certain way towards strangers. It's the people that I feel like know and respect me. I don't want to lose that.
Yeah, and
Or
we wouldn't really. I
Right.
mean, at the end of the day, but it is that like in your own head sort of thing.
yes, totally. I would also like to say hello to my husband Daniel.
Hi. I would like to say hello to that mosquito.
I think it's a moth, actually.
It
Oh,
is a
really?
mosquito. It landed on one of the lights. I almost whacked it. But I did that math in my head of like,
I've learned a hot tip for how to murder a mosquito. And I learned it on TikTok, even though we haven't gotten to twat yet. You get a spray bottle filled with rubbing alcohol, and then you just kind of spritz it.
it's like
and
a shotgun.
Yeah, because
gets
it's
a-
really
a
hard
area.
it's hard to target a mosquito.
And they're quick little fuckers, you know? They like dart around.
And they drink blood. So
Yeah.
it's creepy.
Wait. Yeah, anyway, so now I'm hyper fixated on that stupid mosquito. But hi, I'm happy to be here. Good to see Rob.
Wonderful to
Or like almost now, maybe bi-yearly.
Just
a
about.
visit.
Just
Yeah.
about. Yeah.
When he wanders into town. When he wanders in from the desert.
When he darkens our doorway.
No big floppy hats yet, which I'm pretty pleased
man.
with.
Yeah.
That would be pretty
Has
good.
it been hard to resist?
A little bit. They sell big floppy hats and crystals everywhere.
Big floppy
Like
hat.
Santa Fe or Albuquerque.
Yeah. Less turquoise, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I would like to say hello to Tony Thaxton.
Hi, let's test your memory.
Fuck yeah, brother.
Oh, God. That's also a caller, right?
Yeah, but yeah.
Is it Rich?
Oh, no. It wasn't so much who was it. I just
Just-
wanted to see if you remember, because that literally was just from the last episode.
I
that you asked me to-
Well, if it helps you, I don't. I just knew from the audio quality that was from a caller. Okay. A lot to get to.
Oh, yeah.
Let's just start with the fact that we are lucky that Daniel is still with us among the living because,
Yeah.
well, I know
You're lucky.
you have mixed feelings
You're
about it.
lucky.
Well, yeah, because,
Who
this comes
who
up-
would fold the laundry?
Wow.
not just that. Who would put it away? This comes up weekly, bi-weekly on Childish, the fact that we don't have life insurance yet and how irresponsible as people who have children.
We have like a small life insurance policy through my work.
A few.
But it's,
But we don't have like what you'd want to have.
No.
And so when your life flashed before my eyes, which we'll get to, I was like, God damn it, I really should have had that policy.
Yeah.
But anyway, you want me to explain or you want to explain?
Well, you teased it.
Okay, I'll explain. So our microwave, this is the never.
We have been through so many fucking microwaves.
Radar range. What
Is this
they
a
used to be
common
called.
thing? I never thought of microwaves.
As-
Growing up, we had the
We
same
know-
microwave.
oh.
We had the same microwave my whole
Who made it?
Maybe once.
Is it because you used it like once every 3 months?
No, we used it. I just maybe
Was it made
back
by
in the day they
Quasar?
better
What?
quality.
I don't know. We also had the same microwave growing up.
We did
my
too.
entire life.
Yeah.
Of course, it was like a ka-chunk, like
Yes.
opening the door. Like,
Right, it was sturdier.
Who knows what's escaping though as well.
Right.
It was the size of a garage.
Yeah, pretty much. And then ever since I've moved out, I realized like newer microwaves, quote, cook my food a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
But I have gone through more of them.
Wait,
Yeah.
what's the
Interesting.
quote cook?
Well, like I don't know what's actually going on. In
Oh, yeah, it's magnets.
yeah, waves of sorts.
It's cooking.
Microwaves.
heating elements of the food.
Yeah,
I think it heats up the water molecules and then they shake
Oh,
around
yeah.
and get
We
hot.
went through a couple at our last place.
Yeah.
And then we
Moved
we-
in
we've
and
been
there was
through a
a
couple at this place.
nameless one and then we
And
both
it
went out
died.
and I am the sucker who was like, we want the bells, we want the whistles, we want our microwave was not just a microwave, it was also a convection oven, which seemed appealing, but I didn't realize that just means air fryer. Like and we got an air fryer.
and we never used the convection again.
We
And
never
more
did.
parts,
Yeah.
more things to break. Right?
So anyway, a while ago, it started saying open, close door when the door was closed. So it wouldn't work because it thought the door needed to be open and closed. So I found a video for how to fix it. I sent it to Daniel. He's quite handy. He followed the video, fixed it. Everything was great. We were quote cooking again.
It was inside where the door has two things that go into the microwave, and it triggers like a little plastic latch that slides back real quick, and that tells it it's closed. And that was, I can't remember if it was not going back or it wasn't going. Something wasn't happening. It was just a little trigger mechanism.
So it happened again. Now it's like 2 years later. And I couldn't find the video, but Daniel thought he remembered how he had done it. So he took he began shoving a knife into a hole. And I remember thinking, I don't know that that's a good idea. But nothing
Just to
bad
start
happened.
Shoving a metal
I
knife
know
into
it doesn't work with toasters.
Well, that was my thought. I was like, maybe a microwave's different. And also the first step last time was turning the power off. And the power was on. So
I forgot about that part.
Were you wearing big rubber gloves?
I was not.
I think I know where this story's going.
well, now it's going to be disappointing that he didn't get electrocuted.
I know,
but
I'm
there
so
is
sorry.
a reveal. So anyway, he opened the panel and something, and then the whole thing just went
The
like
power went
meow.
off.
Yeah,
on
just
the microwave itself. There's
right. Nothing works anymore. So we're calling around. It seems that if your microwave doesn't work, you have to just replace it because the parts are so expensive. Like they're disposable.
Yeah.
So I'm kicking myself for
It's
having
so
bought
crazy,
this
like,
expensive
to
microwave 4
replace-
years ago.
To replace the it's not just a trigger. The trigger is attached to this, like, I don't know. It's like this whole thing with all these wires. It's very complicated. And you're like, you can't just go in and replace it. You've got to replace the whole thing. And the whole thing is about the cost of a new microwave.
Yeah.
So
So a lot of places in calling around won't even repair microwaves anymore because they're like, it's not worth it to people, which is insane because
Yes.
the microwave works. It's literally just a trigger,
Yeah.
but now I've got to throw the whole fucking thing away.
And it's an over the range one, so it's not easy to just
Yeah.
swap it out.
No,
It's a whole
I
thing.
hate all of this.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I wasn't going to go into this much detail, but here I am. It's a KitchenAid microwave, Whirlpool. I called them, and they can send someone out to fix it for $385, which seems quite expensive. Or they have a more popular service plan where for every month it's $30.99 for 12 months.
Interesting.
But if something happens, then they'll replace it of equal value. It's like the whole thing. I'm like, it's like a calculus problem. Like if I can figure it out, well. So anyway, the part where he almost died.
Oh, yes.
So Daniel said to one electrician we were talking to,
I got someone on the phone who will repair them.
yeah.
But
And so you're like, is there some way I could do it myself? And he said,
he was like, do not do that. Oh, no, this is one of the guys. Okay, this was the guy who won't repair microwaves anymore, but used to.
oh,
And he was like, don't do that. Do not try to repair it yourself. There is some sort of
3,000
capacitor. I do
volt
not
or something.
like electrical stuff is an area that I have no knowledge of
Clearly.
at all. And he was like, so I don't know what the proper term is. Like if it was a capacitor or something, there's like a 3,000 volt thing in the microwave, and that it will kill you. Like if you fucking touch the wrong thing, you will die.
Did you
And-
consider that maybe you would get superpose, though?
Exactly.
That could have been an
I've
option.
seen- listen,
Yeah.
Die or...
he doesn't know me. So I was like, wow. Well, boy, am I glad.
I guess he's pretty lucky.
But there's that maybe that's why the fuse is triggered in there or something
To save your life.
Who knows? But the whole thing is just so annoying. I'm so tired of living in a world where everything is made to be disposable.
Well, disposable and the fact that you can't
You can't
fix
it
it yourself, or
Right.
even the hiring someone to fix it, the cost, like I at least get where they're coming from.
Yeah.
It's annoying because of the disposability of it all. But there should be a way that like I could go to a trade school to fix everything in my house.
Totally.
yes.
Well,
So we put in a new garage door about a year ago at this point, maybe a little less, because like some high winds like chucked a rock through the old one that we had.
wow.
And we're like, yeah, it works, but it's also really loud, and it's probably was installed in 2004. And so we got a new garage door, and a month ago we went to go to New York for my birthday, and the day we were leaving for the airport, the garage door shut and then just came right back
Oh
up,
no. Sorry.
and then shut and came right back up. And on the little keypad, it's like service sensor, yada, 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 call installer. So we're calling the installer. Essentially, there was nothing I could do except manually shut it or have someone come out to press two buttons, because when we got back from New York,
Yeah, that's all it was.
they came out for two button presses and they're like, oh, the spring's just, readjusted. So I thought it was shutting harder than it was. It's like, that's not, you couldn't tell me over the phone
Right.
the two buttons to push.
Yeah, it's maddening. It's maddening. I feel that. I think like I could be getting this wrong too, but I think like John Deere, there's a whole problem in farming where they spend all this money on this farm equipment, and if they try to repair it themselves, they actually will. There's like fines, and they can get it. It's like against the law to try to repair your own shit, and that's why there's legislation. I think there's legislation to try to, what do they call it, right of repair. So basically,
Have you
to
heard
say
of
that
right
the
of
consumer
repair,
has the
or you
right-
I've
just-
heard that phrase.
I never
but,
have.
like,
Huh.
Yeah, to basically to say like, look, you can't sell something to someone and make it so that
Yeah.
they can't repair the thing that they own.
like proprietary stuff in cars, right?
Right, because like, do you own it if you can't repair it?
Yeah.
So we'll see. I mean, I think that's the kind of thing that's pretty bipartisan.
I just saw a headline, and I didn't read the story, but it's like, this is the shoe doctor that, and then all these famous sneakerheads. I think LeBron James. Does he collect shoes? Feels like maybe. This is like the shoe doctor that so and so like famous people use. Nike, I think it was Nike, says they've gone too far. So see, maybe the shoe doctor is like Frankensteining the shoes What if the shoe doctor takes Adidas laces?
Look,
Fucked up of who? Nike?
Yeah, like, look, make it however you want. If someone
that's like
wants to
Apple.
improve on it, like, then that's on you. You can make your product better then if you feel like it.
Yeah,
but if I want to alter it,
right.
you
It'd be
know,
like
that's
if
on me.
you go get all the plastic surgery you're always talking about, and then your parents are like, hey, you can't do that.
exactly
We
like
made
that.
your body.
Yeah.
I totally see it.
Yep.
Totally see it.
But I think the iPhone is where it's like where you can't unlock your phone and put other software on it. So that's where it might get interesting if the right to repair comes in if Apple's forced to open up their systems.
Well, have we heard? And maybe we still need to talk to Tony. But
Is he here?
It's just like all the people doing the like retrofits for old iPods now.
Yeah.
Oh, what are they doing?
Essentially, just like opening them up and putting new hard drives in them, and so they still work like the original iPod.
They're
except
just
you
really
can hold
heavy.
like a terabyte of music.
Oh, that's kind of awesome.
Yeah.
I remember people taking Mac Classics. Remember those original first Macintosh computers and making them like putting modern computer parts in them.
It's like, or just have a thing that's useless in your drawer.
Exactly.
You know, like, let me fucking upgrade it.
Yep. Well, remember all those iDJs people had in like 2007 where you'd put one iPod in?
Oh, yeah.
And you could, well, now those are going to be able to be used again.
Right. There you go.
Speaking of useless things that are in your drawer, so we had this guy put installation in our attic. Didn't he come out initially as like an exterminator or something, or was he installation from the beginning?
Remember which
Do you
guy.
know the guy who disappeared and we wondered if he died?
Oh, yeah, he was an exterminator.
Who also does installation. Oh, I know. He was an exterminator, so he was in our attic, and then he pointed out that we needed not installation, insulation.
Insulation.
Yeah, insulation. And he offered to do that as well. And then we are so dumb. Well, actually, it was fine. It turned out fine. But like, we're so dumb in that if someone's like, hey, I can do this for you, we're like, okay. So anyway, he did this. He was such a weird guy.
He had his girlfriend there who was like,
no, he told us it was his assistant, but clearly they were in a relationship.
They just seemed, and I'm sorry,
Like
they
drug
just
users.
gave meth vibes.
They did. And also, he told me, and I tried to just let it roll off because, like, consider the source, but he's like, your kids are so spoiled. And I was like, well, why do you say that? He's like, look at all these toys. Like, okay. He apparently had.
Probably.
Love getting judged by the people I'm paying to
Yes.
about with my home.
So he also, oh my God. He told me that he had worked at a pediatrician's office as an assistant or something, which is horrifying. So anyway, all of a sudden he just disappears one day.
By the way, we hadn't paid him yet.
Yeah.
Disappears in the attic? Or?
I know, that's what I thought you meant at first.
Yes, is that weird?
I was wondering what that smell
I've
was.
been hearing a gnawing sound. No, we
He's, like,
owed
in the
him.
wall.
We owed him money, and he never collected. And I like texted him, and he never returned it or
I'm
anything.
convinced he just died.
Wait, still to this day?
To this day, this was like years ago. This was years ago.
I had the same thing happen with an electrician. I was like, all right, if they don't contact me by the end of the month, I'm just calling them to not have it like weighing over my head. But like,
We tried to find him.
yeah, both times we hired these electricians, they never collected. And I had to be like, I'm just calling because I don't want you to come in like 6 months and be like, oh yeah, remember that $2,000 you owed us or
plus
whatever?
interest.
Well, there's always that tension of like, okay, it's not in my interests to
Right,
Yes.
make
right.
sure that-
It's not.
However, I don't want to be hit with this in 3 months.
I don't want to
when
get
I've already spent
served
that
or
money.
something.
Yep.
So also, I just remembered. Remember, he had a pet raccoon.
What?
So was he part of our raccoon eviction?
He might have been.
We had a family of raccoons living under our house, and we had to evict. That's the term. That you evict them. You serve them a notice. You
Yeah.
give them 30 days.
Squatter raccoons.
Yeah.
You spray like some
Urine.
urine of some predator.
Okay.
It was just the guy just pissed under our house. It
Daniel,
smells.
you're not a predator. I didn't mean it like
No,
that.
no, I get it.
I choose the bear.
This is the kind of guy that's you're like, did you just spray the urine and collect him and put him out in the woods or whatever? He's like, yeah, but probably he just killed them.
Well, we always wondered, but he had a pet raccoon.
Yeah,
that he showed me pictures of, and he's like, yeah, he's like a teenager at this point because he was acting like a teenager raccoon.
He doesn't do what I say.
Yeah.
He's playing
so
music loud.
that actually redeemed him, if it's true, which I believe it is, that he had. Exterminators are weird in that they
Unless you listen to this show and you're an exterminator, which you're lovely.
Demian, I love you.
Demian, that's right.
I don't think he deals with like mammals though. The ones that like trap and remove the bigger animals or that like kill rats or whatever it is, like they seem to have this very cold attitude toward pests, but also
Life
like
in general.
but I mean, he kept a raccoon as a pet, so they have some affection. It's
There's gotta be
strange.
some sort of connection between like that and like the dentist mentality too. Like people say dentists are always like a little odd or depressed or
Yes.
something.
Yeah.
Not all dentists.
Hashtag not all dentists. Well, so anyway, remember I found his switchblade?
What?
Oh, yeah.
And it's sitting in my drawer right now. It's like a very heavy switchblade. I can't remember where I found it.
Does it have a comb?
No, it's got a
It's
knife.
actual
Did he
knife.
leave his flashlight too?
Maybe. I don't know where that is. But anyway, I have this. It's like very heavy. I don't know that
And
switchblades
it's
should be light.
Got dried blood on it.
Yeah.
And now your
white powder.
fingerprints.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like, what do I do with it? So I don't know why I have it, in case he comes back or in case in the middle of the night I,
I don't
need
think
it.
he's coming back.
I don't. It has been years. His poor raccoon. So anyway, you mentioned that dentists are weird. I have a new theory, a new working theory about doctors, because I am now of the age where I feel like I have a team. I see doctors all the time. I addressed recently, I suspect I have silent reflux, but I can't handle having another thing I have to like medicate. So I'm just putting it on the back burner. It's not an emergency or anything. It just makes me have postnasal drip. So anyway, I follow this doctor. She's a dermatologist named Dr. Sam Ellis. She has a skincare line. I was watching her video and she was talking and she's like a statuesque, beautiful blonde woman who, you're like, why are you a doctor? But
I doctor professor bitch.
Exactly. I guess as a dermatologist, it's
Do you
okay.
have her number? No, it was eye doctors, not dermatologists.
Right. So, but you do get a lot of skin cancer. So it'd be good for you to have a dermatologist wife.
I need to go to a dermatologist again.
Yeah. So anyway, she was talking about in this video about all the things she does to her skin. And she was saying that she does XYZ because she has a lot of UV damage from her youth because she was a swimmer. Like this just challenges my notion of what the person who goes into medicine should be a weird nerd who loves science. But she's this like statuesque blonde swimmer. Okay, so then yesterday I go to a pelvic floor doctor. That's sexy. And she is also a statuesque blonde woman who is extremely tan. And I don't mean like she's from Argentina. I mean like she probably is from San Diego or Santa Barbara, and she was a water polo player or something. And like ice blue eye, I think I'm in love with her. Crystal blue eyes. And just like she for sure was an athlete. And once again, I'm just thinking, I think I've been wrong about the idea. And also I really liked her, but she didn't seem to have enough empathy over my concern about, can you tell me what size the camera you're going to shove up my pee hole is? And I feel like that would be the number one question, don't you think? The number one question, if you're going to get, I think it's called like a uroscopy, like a little scope where they look in your bladder, should be, is it a Nikon? Is it a Panasonic?
It's a
What are
GoPro.
what are we talking about?
Yeah, between that and just the general, like, don't just do something. Please explain.
Oh, it's happening in a few months. So I have a lot of time to worry about it.
Anytime I've been in college and a doctor's had to do anything in that area, let's say, or post-college, I'm just thinking back to all of the most terrifying times I've been to the doctor. It is like don't just do it.
Right.
Like, I need to know all the details.
Yes.
because
Give me a website.
I'm gonna think about it one way or another,
Right.
but I can have some like scaffolding.
Also, the
Right.
more you know about it, the less scared, generally speaking.
That's how I am. Because I said how painful is it? She's like, it's mild discomfort. It'll be a little uncomfortable the next few times you pee. I'm like, well, this sounds like a fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
And then as she was on her way out, and then I said, I'm like, I gotta admit, I'm pretty nervous. I'm worried about this. Is it uroscopy? Does that sound right?
Like that.
I'm worried about this camera up my urethra. And she's like, it'll be okay or something. And then on her way out, I'm like, how wide is it? She's like, about the same as a catheter. So anyway, that's not the point though.
But
The point
had
is
bad.
well, so
with
that's what I
catheters.
said. Yeah, because when my first epidural didn't really work, and they catheterize you when you have an epidural. It's just standard, but usually you don't feel it because you're all numb.
Oh, yeah.
But I felt it a lot, and I felt like my bladder or my whole undercarriage was on fire, and like I was like, please
It was
just
really
take it out.
traumatic.
Yeah, it was traumatic because they refused to take it out and they didn't believe me. And then all of a sudden, this like horrendous nurse is like, wait a minute. If your epidural's working, you shouldn't be feeling this. I'm like, yeah.
You don't
You
say.
think? So then they finally numbed it up and I was okay. But anyway, back to this all-American doctor. I'm beginning to think actually this makes sense. The people who would become doctors are people who are very, at least in California, they're like total down the middle high achievers. And in my high school, those were the people. They
Athletics.
were varsity. They went to Stanford.
But
They're
they're
like
specifically
crazy smart. But go ahead.
specifically swimming, track.
But why? I mean, I
tennis.
think you're right. But why?
Because those are like the sort of rich person sports.
Oh, and my mom's doctor.
The rich high achiever person sports.
My mom's
Soccer,
doctor had gone to Pomona College, which is where I went.
lacrosse.
My sister and I,
Yes, high school highlight. Your mom had gone
hacky
to
sack, but professional at a professional level.
Podiatrist.
Yeah.
Hacky sack.
Yeah, my mom's doctor had gone to Pomona College, which was where my sister and I went, and we were talking to him, and he said that he had been on the football team, which again made the gong inside my brain go gong, 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 gong.
Typical gong sounds.
But
Tony, I'm going to replace that
went
with
to the-
something that works.
Played football at Pomona.
Granted, it's Division III, but someone
Is it
someone
like
who plays.
4-on-4 football.
It's like one of those little. It's foosball, actually.
Yeah,
But still, athletics.
but country club athletics though. is
Whatever.
like golf, tennis, swimming. Those are the kinds of sports.
What are you
that-
excluding?
Football, baseball. Well,
No, he
sometimes
played
they'll play-
football.
Stickball.
Well, no, but football
T-ball,
is unusual.
Pickleball.
Well,
Football's
no,
unusual.
Okay.
That is unusual. But
Oh,
like,
is that the mosquito? No. Did you get it? Yeah.
I have this one memory in high school of this kid who said he was going to be a doctor. Senior year, he's going to go over to medical school. And then he immediately spins into a conversation that he's like, but I also found out I might be diabetic. And some kid sitting next to him was like, how do you know that? And he's like, well, apparently, like, when you're diabetic, your pee tastes like sugar. It's like, did this guy just say he tasted his own pee? Or is that, like, just a part of a conversation I missed?
Right.
Yeah. And
Well, how
I'll
else
never forget that moment. There's few moments that
Yes.
I don't remember a lot from high school. That was one thing.
What did he end up becoming?
I don't know.
A pee taster or a
Hey,
doctor?
Maybe both.
Yeah.
I don't know what's more alarming, that he would know or that anyone would know.
Yep. I am sure that some sort of doctor is like, oh, I'm analyzing the glucose
like,
level
Right.
of your pee through the microscope, and this guy just is like, oh, sugar. Let me get my fun dip stick out.
I think what may have happened, is that he heard there's more sugar in the pee, and then he
Tasted it?
thinks of sugar as something you taste.
I have a feeling a high school student probably makes that logic leap
Right.
rather than actually tasting. I hope he didn't taste his pee.
As someone who's never tasted pee, and I'm assuming, has anyone here tasted their pee?
Not that I can remember.
Okay.
Not that I know of.
Nor have I. What do you imagine it tastes like?
I just imagine it tastes like how it smells.
Yeah.
Just like
Yeah.
Sour.
bitter and acidic.
Can't say it's a thing I've thought about too much.
No, that's the thing.
in
I
this
haven't
moment.
either. Yeah. I'm thinking it probably tastes like
Snack chat.
I'm thinking it tastes like
This is no one's appreciating
gamey.
this conversation.
Yeah, they are. I'm thinking it tastes
Apologies. listeners.
Although to those who are appreciating it, hello.
bitter and minerally and like salty
Okay, so what else you got on that list?
and poop. No, just kidding. All right, fine.
Delicious.
Yeah.
Now, see, I thought you were going to slurp into the can, right?
No, I
So,
would not
Rob,
do that.
how do you put together a production schedule?
Oh,
Like a mystery novel, I start at the end and work backwards. In that, a lot of the shows I make for, this does not work for Vanderpump Robs, right? Like that is essentially much like this sort of show where we have guests, we book them, we just do it, and we make sure that we have an episode that goes out. But like for my day job, I will.
What is the day job?
I work for an architecture and design firm in New York that does podcasts related to design.
Do you know about my theory about architects?
Remind me. Or production schedule, whichever one you want.
Well, I have to take a quick detour because
Please
this
do.
is one of my ballywhacks. Tony,
Ballywick.
Would it be
Ballywick.
better if I said the built environment? Because that's a
Ooh, I like that.
phrase I've found.
I believe, and I know I sound like someone who's putting people into categories since I have a new theory about doctors.
Is it bailiwick?
Bailiwick. Yeah, but what does it mean? Like your thing? Can you
That's
look
like
up
your thing.
bailiwick?
One's sphere of operations or particular area of interest.
This might be my bailiwick.
Someone's got a word of the day calendar.
Yes. Architects are I appreciate their work, and I like Elise Keaton from Family Ties, but I think architects are often megalomaniacs, like very controlling nightmare people.
Well, I have
Except for the ones you work for.
No, I don't directly work for any of them. But what I have learned in some of these episodes is that, like, there are so many things, so many boxes you have to check when you're designing something for the built environment that it shouldn't be, in my opinion, one person's job. Right? And there are a lot of people that go into, like, building a building, designing a building, but especially with, like, code restrictions, environmental impact, like, stuff that you don't even think of that, like, you know, sometimes there's like climate credits, right, that go into things, which that's a whole other ball of wax. But, you know, well, if I use this duct system, then I can't use this floor system. And I think all of those things going together, it's like an architect is probably battling with like my grand design for the next Pacific
but
Design
I read
building.
Ayn Rand.
Yeah. Oh, good Lord. Yes. But then also battling with like the red tape of it all.
Yes.
The code restrictions.
Yeah.
Well, Trump's going to get rid of all that.
Of
so-
course. And
We don't need it.
I can't wait to go into any buildings after that.
So yeah,
So he was, I don't want to step on you, Daniel, but Rob was explaining what his job is and then also production schedule.
I was here. Did you think I just stepped out?
I was confused by that too.
I've been listening this entire time.
She's trying to put the car back on the road
Yeah, I felt like you were about
in
to
a
say
way that
something
was
and I
very confusing.
I do tend to glaze over while you talk, but
The
not
mosquito
while
was
everybody
just
talks.
going around.
Yes.
I was just trying to let you know that whatever you're going to say, if it's not letting Rob get back to his thing, we got to get back to the thing.
My thing may not be that thrilling.
I know, but I'm invested now.
I was just going to add that I think with architects, when you hire an architect, you're hiring a whole team of people. It's not, we have this idea that
Like
there's
a
one
firm.
person, and they have the person that does the this and the person that, is that okay, Allison? Does that fit with the...
Yeah, you're on thin ice, but it's
But
okay.
you know what we need again? We need buildings like that basket building in Ohio. I don't know if you could, when they used to like
Yes.
make buildings like this is a basket factory, and the building looks like a basket.
Yeah, I love novelty buildings.
We don't get that anymore.
No.
But long story short, on how if I have to make a season of 8 episodes, I say, when is the last episode going to launch?
Yes.
Is that December 13th? Then we work back to what we need to do to get all those episodes.
So the production
done.
schedule has to do with the multiple episodes, not within each episode.
Yes, and then
Am I keeping it on track, Allison?
And it's going to be really thrilling for students to look at a calendar and go, what goes into making an episode? But when it becomes second nature, it is something that like I don't think a lot of people think of in podcast production, because so much of the time, especially when it's like just current event sort of stuff, we
have the giggles.
Yes. I've heard so many people, especially in like the Bravo space, be like, right as I put out an episode, there's a new thing of news that drops. And you have to just like cut that out because there's always going to be celebrity gossip. There's always going to be something. And you, if you want, always have to put out an episode. So who gives a shit? Mm-hmm. It'll get covered on the next episode if it's that big of a deal. And guess what? You've got more episodes to
more
make.
Content.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right.
But I think people beginning stages of production, and this goes to like something that has like an 8-episode season or what, they get so bogged down with the like, well, the news just came out, we need to drop something right now. And it's like, well, no, because how do you consume media?
Yeah.
You don't care. You will go searching for something if you want to find it. And if it's not, you're just going to scroll past it anyway. So there's like a give and take. And I really want to, when I talk to these kids, I really want to let them know that like, don't give yourself rules that you're then afraid to break, because I've done that before. It's like painting yourself into a corner and you're like, oh, but I chose this. This is like, no one's telling me to do this.
Yeah.
That's a hard thing to do though.
What's an example of rule that you've given yourself?
Well, I always have to put out an episode on Wednesday when I'm like just starting, let's say. Right? And I have no listeners, and I'm still just trying to find my footing. If the episode comes out on Thursday, at that stage in the game, not a big deal.
Right.
Because I'm learning that I couldn't get it done by Wednesday. So now I need to reevaluate why I couldn't get it done by Wednesday. And if it means I have to start putting out episodes on Friday, cool. I'm not beholden to anything. Now, 10 years in, whatever, people are used to episodes, you've got a listener base, then you know that like, oh, hey, if the episode's not coming out because of a snowstorm or something in California.
It could happen.
Yeah. You go, listeners, hey, power was out. The episode will be out tomorrow, But these are all things that people are so afraid of breaking rules that they make themselves.
Right.
That's interesting.
For a period of time, the Monday episodes, at that point, Daniel hadn't hit the scene yet. And so, I had a guest every Monday, and I would just name the episode the guest name. And then I went through a phase where I'm like, I got to make it more interesting. So it would be almost like a head, like so-and-so, da-da-da. Did that come to life for you?
Yes.
And it was always a challenge to come up with it. What is this going to be called? And then I just went back to titling it the guest name. Yeah. It's just so much easier. And I don't think that it changed anything.
It's like when you started the show, you had no intro. And then I started doing intros. And then and it was like a huge pain in the ass. And then I had to continue doing them.
Right.
Well, you can stop at any time.
I don't know about that. I don't know. He would like to, but I just feel that the intros just adds by me and the listeners.
Can we talk about Jax for a second?
Yes, please, God. I need to.
Because I just read, sorry, this doesn't have to do with production schedules, honey.
It's fine.
But I feel like
Oh, sorry.
Tony, did you get an alert?
Calendar notification for tomorrow.
Do you buy? So Jax, you can tell me more. I believe he checked himself into a mental health facility.
Well, it depends on who you're talking to.
Yeah, what's going on?
Yeah, I would like to know as well.
And is this going to be included in the next season of The Valley, my new favorite Bravo show?
I think it would have to be, because it was smack dab in the middle of filming season 2.
Oh, it was?
Yeah.
Oh, so it's totally for show.
Oh, for sure. But here's the thing. Do I think Jax has mental health issues that need to be addressed? Yes, but I've only ever watched a TV show, right?
Yes.
Oh, and received a couple deranged DMs from him. So do I think so?
Rob,
Yes.
Can you spill the tea on that?
Remember when him and Schwartz were doing like bar crawls and stuff around? So they were like 6 months ago. They would say, pay $450. You get on a bus with us, and we hit all the Vanderpump bars, right?
Okay.
Of course, they tell you what day it is and what bars they're hitting.
So you could join
You could
them.
just show up and.
But did they do that on purpose? Because they wanted people to join them, I would think.
I think they wanted the $400 per person more than they wanted randos because
To
they, of
do
course,
it without paying.
Yeah, complained about that afterwards.
I see.
Funny side note, they ended at Sir, but they started at Schwartz and Sandy's, very far away from
That
one
is
another.
far.
And then didn't take people back to Schwartz and Sandy's. So, anyway, I think that the headline is Jax Taylor checks himself into mental health facility.
Mm-hmm.
He stays there for 30 days on the dot, and then posts on his story that he has now been diagnosed with PTSD, bipolar disorder, and that he's working on that and growing, yada, 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 right? It was a black and white photo. A day later, he also released the same photo in color, just in case anyone... some of y'all said you wanted to see this photo in color. And...
Well, that's the bipolar.
Of course.
Bipolar is black and white.
And for some reason, I thought that... I've done my research. I had thought that bipolar, they had like renamed that, but apparently now it doesn't matter. Jax definitely has something that he needs to work
believe he's bipolar, but I
Sure.
believe he's also
Narcissist.
a narcissist.
borderline, all
Yeah,
of these.
maybe
Right.
borderline.
Oh, yeah.
And
Although I think bipolar has a...
Does it?
I think you can be one without the other, but you can't be, one of those
Right.
things.
I don't know,
but I'm no doctor, but because
didn't
I'm not an
swim.
athlete.
Yeah.
But the thing is that I think it's pretty clear that the guy has had some substance abuse issues on camera.
Yeah.
And that probably goes into it. We have this weird sordid history of him as like a model in Florida. I think there's just a lot of
Jason.
things he
The
had.
rumors I heard, and these are rumors.
Well, and a week later, Brittany issued him divorce papers.
Yes.
So-
Well, the rumors about Jax that I've always heard, and who knows if it's true, is that he was kind of the dealer to the crew. So it's more than just he had substance issues, that like he was
the go-between.
the hookup for substances. But I don't know if that's
Allegedly,
true.
we don't know.
Allegedly, of course.
Rumors are rumors.
I mean, there's one episode where you see the white powder on the table. And
Is that like they're getting ready for the wedding? Yeah, I remember.
But I've always said drugs are the subtext of
Yes.
Vanderpump Rules.
Apparently, they're
alcohol.
also the subtext of Scooby-Doo.
Interesting.
Like Shaggy was supposed to always be stoned.
Oh,
Scooby
yeah, that
snacks.
tracks.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true, but wait, I had a question. Oh, sorry. Did I have an out of body experience when you said what his deranged DMs were to you? Or
I have
you
not said what
Okay.
they are. I've now, of course, a lot of your listeners listen to Vanderpump Robs, and so they may have
They
heard this
should.
before.
Yeah.
But for those who haven't, they were doing the bar crawl, him and Schwartz, and it was like getting to be like a couple weeks before the bar crawl was going to happen, and I was at Jax's Studio City for a watch party. He was not there. Brittany was there, and I had posted from there. Hey, and this is my podcast
Is that
about
still
this
around Jackson's Studio City?
stuff. Right in Rocco's Annex.
Okay.
Yep,
Right.
and
It's my favorite annex.
it's one of the best annexes.
top 5 annexes.
Yeah.
And he DMs me and he says something along the lines of like, hey, we're about to do the bar crawl in a couple of weeks and we're looking for a host. Didn't know if you knew of anyone or what that looks like, something along those lines. Like alluding to maybe you could do it, but
Yeah.
also if you know someone.
Right.
And I wrote back, I was
A host for the bar
for
crawl?
the bar crawl, someone to be like, hey, I've got trivia questions.
Right.
Just to keep them entertained.
Yeah. And I said, hey, that's great. I would love to do that. But if not, I've got a handful of other people I could send you to if you don't want it to be me. And
he cussed you
very,
out.
Very modest. No, but immediate, like not enough time to even type it out. So this has to have been like copy pasted.
Right.
But I heard you've been talking negatively about me on your podcast. So maybe we'll have to go in another direction.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And I just went back and I was like,
That's great. So he was like, I would have hired you if you hadn't said shit.
yeah, which I responded
Oh my
with,
God.
hey, just so you know, I talk negatively about a lot of people on my podcast. You have been one of them, because if you do something negative on the show, the context will be negative on the podcast. So let me know if you need any other suggestions. He did not. Oh, wait. He didn't write back that night. But a week later, or 1 week before the crawl,
my God,
he
that's so
asks me the same question. But like the lines are broken and there's misspellings. So
Yeah.
With the same question about the bar crawl.
yeah, if I knew anyone or if I would be interested.
Did you
in
find out
hosting
that he
it.
sent this to anyone else?
I have not, and I don't think they ended up even having a host. So like, I don't know if I was just in his algorithm for like 1 month and that was popping up.
Oh, that's so
It was wild.
wow.
Yeah.
That is so petty.
Oh, incredibly petty. Is it as petty as everyone? While Jax is in his treatment center, a bunch of people on the Valley cast like renaming Jax's Studio City to Brit's Studio City, getting new shirts printed, like putting a tarp over the Jax and having it written Brits, and doing that like the week he gets out, and all for fun.
Right.
All fun and games.
How fun.
Everyone's posting, like Nia and some other people are like, it's all in good fun. We all call it Brits anyway. And I was
No,
like,
that's-
y'all know what you're doing.
Yeah.
You know what you're doing.
Last question. for
And
me.
then I have another question about
Did Lala
Valley.
get fucking rejected, like from the Valley? Because my sense of what happened is she bought a house in the Valley in order to get on that show, and they said thanks but no thanks, and now she wants to sell that house.
I think that so they've seen Sheena and Lala. They've been shown filming for the Valley this year, but Sheena more so than Lala. And Lala did just have her second baby, Sosa.
Sosa.
And I think that there was probably a bit of like her about to have a child, but also like realizing she may not be main cast, and then being like, wait, also, do I have to actually live in the Valley to be on the Valley? Like, I don't think all of that really led to her being on the show as much as potentially Sheena, but also I don't know what's happening with new Vanderpump Rules, except that they're
on
adding a
hiatus.
whole new cast.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. I think
This'll
our
be
friend
like the
Peter
Max
might
season.
still be there, though.
Oh,
But,
cool.
yeah.
Good for him.
The Return of Peter.
Okay, so on the Valley,
Yeah.
remember when, what is her name? The one who had the nose job most recently, because they've all had multiple nose jobs, who was with the guy who's the realtor and was kind of a dick.
Michelle Lally
Yes.
and Jesse.
Yes. Michelle Lawley supposedly was dating a director. Who was the director?
Rob Reiner.
Probably.
She was supposedly like cheating on her husband with the director, but then it almost seems like they had been on the outs before filming.
Yeah, my theory is that they decided they were not going to continue with their marriage, and then
Then they did
Got
the show.
then the
cast.
show got.
Yes, that makes
and
a
they're
lot
like,
of sense.
Okay, well, we'll work it out.
Yeah.
I don't know if it ever came to light who the director actually was, but the two theories that I heard were Spike Jonze and Quentin Tarantino.
Okay.
Yeah.
Spike Jonze makes more sense because
Yes.
Quentin Tarantino, ew.
Yes. Well, both kind of ooh, but
Has
don't-
Spike Jonze been canceled?
I have no idea.
No, I don't think so.
I just think ooh to the films.
I'm forgetting.
Spike Jones.
Did he do
has had some good
adaptation?
ones.
Yeah, he is.
He did. No, I'm thinking of
No.
Charlie Kaufman.
That's Kaufman.
He did Being John Malkovich. And
Spike Jonze did.
Yeah.
Wasn't
and
that
I liked
Kaufman
that.
too?
he wrote it.
Oh,
Charlie
got
Kaufman
it.
wrote it. And he did Where the Wild Things Are, which people like to haven't seen.
Did you guys see Synecdoche, New York?
No.
I did.
I did not like it.
I didn't either.
Okay.
I was very excited to see it. I remember
Yeah.
at the time, and then I didn't like it.
Yeah.
I did see Beetlejuice.
How was it?
Drive-in.
Oh,
Which
where's
I-
there a drive-in?
In the desert?
29 Palms.
I'm loving that.
Yeah.
How was it?
It's great. It's the only movie theater I can bring my dog to because
Yeah.
he can't be home long enough to.
Drive-in theaters were a big part of my childhood.
Never been to a drive-in. Ever.
We used to go all the time.
Go out to 29 Palms. You spend 3 hours, then sit for 2 hours, and
Yeah.
drive for 3 hours. Beetlejuice was seemed like everyone was having fun making the movie.
What is it?
It's the sequel to Beetlejuice.
Is Michael Keaton in it?
Yeah, as Beetlejuice.
What is Beetlejuice? Beetlejuice?
Well, it's weird because it's spelled like beetle and juice, but his name is Beetlejuice, like the
Beetlejuice,
star.
Yeah.
Geis.
Yeah. No, I literally meant what is it? Because I really have only heard of it in passing. So if that's funny to you, yuck it up.
What is Ghostbusters 3?
Without
Is that
yeah, what is Ghostbusters Frozen Empire?
I don't think that question is on par with that, because it'd be like if I said, "Oh, I just saw." Hang on.
Synecdoche, New York 2.
right?
No,
That is-
Synecdoche, New York, Synecdoche, New York. Because it's the same title twice. So hence, if you said I saw Ghostbusters,
It isn't like
Ghostbusters.
that, though.
Yes, it is. Why
No.
is it not?
What other content? What else could it be? Like
A musical. Did he
movie,
saw it at
a
drive-in?
movie about the star Beetlejuice, and it's about astrologers.
Okay, but Beetlejuice, the movie, came out, what, in 1980 something?
But there's no other Beetlejuice. What else could it possibly be other than a sequel to Beetlejuice?
It could be a documentary. It could be a retelling. It could be,
Okay.
But remember the whole
A musical?
Beetlejuice thing?
well,
Oh,
I
on
haven't seen,
Oh, well, and just
The
in
first
general.
one.
Oh.
Yeah.
Do you know the Community thing?
Yeah.
no.
So in Community, they for 3 seasons the word Beetlejuice would come up. So it just in conversation, so a character would just Beetlejuice, whatever. And then the third time it comes up in like the 3rd season, in the background, someone dressed as Beetlejuice walks by.
Yeah.
And so you
That's
would only
funny.
get that if I
Yeah.
love shit
If
like
you'd
that.
seen Beetlejuice minus Beetlejuice. The first one. Beetlejuice minus Beetlejuice.
Sorry, I didn't mean to shame you, honey. It's just
No, it's fine.
it's
It's
just
all
a
right.
stupid
It's what-
question.
The movie is not without its faults, though.
Yes,
I
it
will
was
put that.
okay.
Seemed like they got a lot of pages in, and then they were like, "Oh wait, well, let's just keep going."
Yeah. Well,
There's so many TV shows that
what's
are
the
like
last
that.
good Tim Burton movie though? I mean,
It
is
has
like
been a while.
Yeah.
Ed Wood?
That and I feel like anytime a sequel is made so
far.
long after the original, has there
Has
ever
that
been a
ever-
good one?
What I will
that's
say,
a good
though-
question.
Beetlejuice looks good and minimal CGI.
All
So-
I need from a Beetlejuice or a Beetlejuice is just Michael Keaton going crazy and being hilarious.
yeah.
Because that's what it is.
Has
Michael
there-
Keaton Douglas,
Oh yes,
because that's what he goes by.
that's
now.
right.
Why?
About that. That's his
His real name.
Michael
really?
Douglas, and
Michael
then of course in Hollywood there can only ever be one person with a particular name.
Right.
So he changed it to Michael Keaton, but now he wants
Michael
Keaton
Keaton Douglas.
Is Michael Douglas still with us?
yes.
Okay.
His dad is not
Kirk
Douglas.
Kirk
Douglas.
Douglas.
So
Hollywood.
has there
Kirk Douglas Keaton.
has there ever been another sequel that's the title of the original twice?
But it plays into the idea that if you say Beetlejuice's name 3 times,
Yes,
Yeah,
I know,
so-
but I'm just pointing out that there's no way from that I would know that it was a
Okay.
sequel.
There's
Daniel.
no way. There's no way you
But
could
with all
know
the
that
TikToks and,
Beetlejuice is a
social
Well,
media.
I know you'd think it's just that you get
How-
into your little algorithm
Honey, I
and
agree.
then
That's
you're
true. That's
siloed.
true.
You're siloed over there.
There is no way.
I would like to know
Yes.
if anyone would like to do just me or everyone.
All right.
Sometimes I ponder on something I have thought or done. Is it just me or everyone?
All right, Rob, I hear you have one.
Yeah, and it kind of goes back to our microwave and garage door chat
nice.
from
Oh,
earlier.
that was when the show
Bring
was
it
really
back.
singing.
It was really like people were on the edge of their seats.
Go back, people. If you
We're
haven't
bringing
heard
it
that.
back. This is
You
like a
tuned in right
herald.
now, yeah.
Um,
Yes, a callback.
yes. So when you become a homeowner, is it just me or
Tony, you can take
does,
a walk.
does everyone think that like
Jesus.
the rules are really complicated on what you can and cannot do with your home? right?
Right.
Maybe this is a right to repair thing.
Yeah.
And I feel like there should be some
You mean
sort
with
of
like the regulations and stuff? The
well,
codes.
in like permits,
Yeah.
and,
Yes.
and like, or even like, I'm getting rid of this old lighting system.
Yeah.
Where does it go? You know?
Oh,
And
yeah, the disposing of things.
So I
just
feel
don't.
like there needs to be a like in Beetlejuice, a handbook for the recently deceased, a handbook for the recently acquired home,
Yeah.
and like, okay, if you're going to put in an outlet, you don't need a permit.
I almost
if
wonder
you're
if
going to
there isn't something
rewire
like
your
that.
house, you do need
There
a
probably
permit.
is on your
haven't
county
been able
website.
to find one
really.
yet.
There really should be. Well, Rob,
Good.
there's a need.
Yeah.
Hey,
Hey,
You'd have to do one for each
Like,
municipality.
hopefully
if the Democrats win and housing becomes more affordable, there'll be a lot of new homeowners.
yeah.
There used to be, I think they still exist, but when I bought my first car, you could go get, I forget what the name of them. There's a guide, a book, and you just keep it in your trunk, and it teaches you how to
The
do.
Thomas Guide.
Hitchhiker's Guide.
No, I'm forgetting the
Kelly
name. of it.
Blue Book. I know. None of these
But
are
it's
it.
like literally anything you need to do to your car. It's like how in your particular vehicle. So it'd be like how to change the oil filter, how to change the air filter,
But not
spark plugs, whatever.
not
you need
put
to do.
out by the maker of the car.
No, it was
Someone-
like it was like a third party that would do this for every kind of car, and so you would get yours. And I feel like now, like we were talking about earlier with cars, you couldn't because everything's like electronic and stuff. So something like that.
Yeah, and I'm sure there are like really niche websites.
Well, we have
that are,
YouTube, but
also like even like it you don't know what to even look
I know.
for if you don't know the answers. And this goes back to what I was saying. Like I don't want to live in fear that I'm like retroactively, if we ever sell the house down the line, right? That like
Totally.
I didn't get the right permit for this piece of screen door that I put in.
it's crazy
you know?
when we
And,
bought this-
and I luckily found out from a contractor that like unless I'm like blowing out a wall or like moving the plumbing around, you're good.
well, they're not going to come look, but they do want permits for almost anything you do.
It's wild. Now, luckily, you can also get like for small things like retroactive permits and
Oh,
stuff.
you can?
Yeah, but it is one of those things where like you don't know, and like no one actually. Am I going to go to the local chamber of commerce, or am I going to City Hall, or you know?
Yeah.
I had
know.
to when we bought this house. We have two doors now in the back of the house, but they weren't there when we moved in. There were windows there.
Windows.
And we were busting those windows out and putting in doors. And some inspector who was doing something down the street was like, what's going on over here? And then stopped work for like 2 months. And we didn't have a contractor. We had Ray, who's not a contractor. And so I had to do all of the permitting.
Yeah.
And so I had to go on to the city's website and read, and then it's Burbank, but Burbank like codes are like California codes sometimes, but then there's Burbank's. It was so fucking complicated. And then you have to like, you're not sure you're reading the right codes. Yeah. It's not actually clear, and it's all very legal. And I ended up going back and forth fucking City Hall with my own janky permits because I'm not I don't know how to draft.
Sure.
I forget even what they call them.
A blueprint?
No, but they have terms for the. I'm working on it, but
It's almost like they want it to be complicated.
Yes. Like taxes.
However, and so and it's like you have to have like if you want to, we wanted to put a step out the back, the egress, except that it has to be 3 feet, and it has to be this, and everything has to be just so. However, and it's a pain in the ass, and I remember sitting there waiting to be called, and people complaining, "Oh, the fucking regulations." But the thing is, they're all that. Every single regulation is there for a reason.
Oh yeah.
Like. We didn't start with regulations. It's not like
no, people were falling out of their house and hurting themselves because the step was too abrupt.
Because there was a problem. Like one guy was complaining because he had a swimming pool and he was getting rid of this. He was getting rid of the swimming pool. And he had to get a permit to get rid of the swimming pool. And it's like, yeah, because when you take the water out or whatever, the land
foundation,
what was being kept in check now goes away, and you can't just dispose of the water because there's anyway whatever.
What I learned is minor things
other thing I was going to say was boring, so
but basically
stop.
Listeners, if you're terrified, If you're putting in an outlet, don't worry about it. If you're
Right.
adding an addition to your house in any way, shape, or form, a step,
Yeah.
a wall, something that needs nails or cement, generally
You can't put any kind of structure within 5 feet of the property line.
Yep.
And you can't put anything over a certain height within certain feet. And it's so that people can't look over the fence. It's so that, now you see that all the time.
Oh, yeah.
But,
Like, no one's taking you to jail. But
right. But if your neighbor has a problem with it, they could.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
All right. Excellent. Tony, you said you have one?
Yeah, mine is, though I don't own a home, I have a home, and it does involve this.
I hope it came off funny when I said that and not super bitchy. I meant it to be
didn't.
funny.
Just cunty.
Funny cunty, though, right?
Right. Well, funny cunty.
So at our place, I think I've said this before. So we're in a house, but then there are apartments behind us,
Right.
not connected, but probably like similar to from your house
Yeah.
to this back here, and the people. So and then there's a driveway, and there's a gate to the driveway that we have a clicker for to pull into the driveway, and then on the side of the house there is a little like dirt, I don't know, 4 feet wide or something, like dirt path beside the house that is just, there's a gate, but it's not locked and you can open and close that. But, that just dumps out into our yard in the front. The people that live behind us use that dirt path all the time instead of the driveway. And the gate
For
on that-
driving or for
no,
walking?
just to walk out.
Okay.
A car couldn't fit back
Yeah.
there. It's just a tiny little walkway, and the gate's attached to our house.
It's like a
so
dog
any-
run, kind of.
Sure. And but that gate on that side is attached to our house. So when they use it, it's loud, and I'm often
Yeah.
in that room that's right there recording or
Right.
whatever. And I'm just like, why do they even use that? Like, if I lived back there, I don't even think I would consider using that. I would go like, why not go out the
Right.
paved driveway
Right.
side?
Why do
Yeah.
they?
And I don't know. They're weird old people, and they do it all the time.
And is that a manual gate, though?
Yeah.
Versus is there a way to go out the driveway manually? Maybe they
I'm
don't-
not sure, but they have a clicker because I've
Okay.
seen them
Yeah.
use it.
it
It's
seems
just
like, sorry.
no. Go ahead.
I was just saying, it seems like one of those things that I see a lot of times in like my parents' generation is that like, oh, this is the first way out.
Yeah.
So it must be the most convenient and fastest.
Yeah.
I'm not even thinking past the fact.
I know,
that,
and the
like,
thing is, then they cut across the yard to go toward
but
where
it's
the
first
driveway
door.
is.
It's the first door, so I'll just
so
exit.
and it's
first.
just I would not even like think to, especially since it's attached to our house.
Right.
Yeah.
I just like, again, we are renting, but so are they, and it just feels like we often get the impression that they think,
They own your house?
well, that they like think the yard and all that is like theirs too.
Right. It sounds,
Which
it
I
sounds
would
like
not think that, because
Right.
they're behind us. There's
Right.
a driveway separating us.
Yeah,
And
that's weird.
yeah, and it really drives us crazy because sometimes they slam
This
the
is
gate.
your
and
just
it's really
mirror,
loud.
everyone?
Annoying.
I wanted to see if I'm the only one who finds this weird, and or like
No, I
would-
think it's weird, too.
Yeah,
I think
okay.
it's weird.
And you should give them stern talking to.
well, the problem is they don't speak English. So
Oh, what
But-
do they speak?
Armenian.
So in Armenian, put a sign that says, "Please don't slam the gate," and they'll know.
I know, and
Please don't slam my gate.
Yeah. Ooh.
Well, I want to just lock it because I'm like I would prefer to have it locked, and then I don't know why they wouldn't want that
Right.
either.
Right.
Right.
So like I'm getting close to
Have you
talking.
talked to the landlord? Yeah.
Not about. We've definitely talked to them about other things that we
Right.
don't like that they do, but yeah, we're
See,
getting
I'm
close
just
to talking
wondering,
about that one.
Have they been there a while?
I don't know for sure.
My suspicion is they've been doing this since they lived there,
Yeah,
and so they just think they can continue doing it even though you guys are there. Like they're just like we've been here for a while. We're older than everyone. We're bossy.
It's
yeah. I think like again, I think they just think it's
They've
all
never
theirs.
seen anyone else use it, so it must be ours.
Right.
they don't speak any English.
Mm-mm.
That's wild.
I mean, a couple of words here and there. Like he always will say hi, but
So
that's about it.
there's so much of an Armenian community here that you can come here, not speak any English, and function fine.
Yeah,
That's
I
crazy.
I don't know if they've lived here long because they have a son. Their son lives in one of the other ones back there too,
Uh-huh.
and he's, I don't know, probably a little older than me. He speaks English,
Right.
but yeah. So I don't know if they moved here
More
recently. I'm not sure.
All right, I have it just mirror everyone. Then we got to do product picks. Then we got to do hello to Patreon people. And then we got to be over and we got to make it fast because we don't want to keep Rob from his class. Okay. Every now and then, people will pop into my head. It's always it's usually when I'm traveling that I haven't thought of in like 20 years, like someone I went to college with. It's like, oh my God, I haven't thought of that person in so long. And then they'll be in my mind a lot. That is not my just mirror everyone. That is the preamble. The other day, I was like, alfalfa sprouts. God, I haven't thought of alfalfa sprouts in like 6 years. Has anyone else had that experience with alfalfa sprouts or with any
Probably haven't
food
thought about them
item?
since I went to a Jimmy John's 10 years ago.
Yeah, I think that there was a period there where it was considered super healthy to put
Yeah.
alfalfa sprouts on everything. And then everyone was like, yeah, but I don't.
They're
like,
gross.
Yeah.
and so then they stopped.
They had a real kale thing going for them.
Yeah.
Yes, they were yesterday's kale.
Big
Oh,
kale took over.
this is like that meme. Alfalfa sprouts is staring at the guy who's staring at kale.
Yes.
But
Someone make that meme, please.
yes,
Someone
please. Yeah, I just like I don't know how frequently I think of every single other food stuff, but I just realized like, wow, I really haven't given them any kind of thought in years. Wiped from my awareness.
Yeah.
All right, let's do a quick product picks, Rob. Oh, wait, hang on. Podcast Pals product picks. Thank you.
I love it. I was there that episode,
I
so
know.
it feels cemented in history. So I've got one that I just experienced last night, actually, and which is why I've brought it to the table today.
Love it.
Now, is it available to be put on some sort of Amazon storefront? I'm not sure.
I'll figure it
We'll
out.
figure it out. If not, I've got a really great USB-C to HDMI connector that I would love to see on the Alison storefront. But
I'll take that too.
there is a new game that you can play on the computer called Dale and Dawson's Stationery Supplies. And I usually never game with other people online. Like, I'll have a PlayStation, I'll do that sort of stuff and play my little one-person Tomb Raiders or whatever. But this is a game where you all work in an office and you've got the manager, you've got people who are like doing their job, and then you've got slackers. And no one else knows what anyone else is except for the manager. And you go through little rounds, and like if you're the slacker, you have to like smoke a cigarette in the bathroom, or play Minesweeper on your computer. And other people are like, fax this thing or do it, and then the manager has to figure out, and you all have to go into the conference room and figure out who the slackers are.
This sounds really weirdly fun.
It was a blast. I played like 2 hours with only a couple of people I actually know, and then all of their friends that came in. I had such a blast. It was so much fun. The game was only like $6.
Wow.
One of the offices is The Office from classic comedy television.
European, English or American?
English. So
Okay.
like, the good one.
Right.
Is this like a first person sort of game?
Yeah, you're just looking, you got hands and stuff,
Yeah.
but like everyone else looks like almost like the Mark Zuckerberg, like me, like
Oh, yeah.
virtual thing. So it's not like good graphics or whatever, big quotes there, but it was a lot of fun, very simple, really easy to pick up, and everyone can like talk to each other in the game. So like we're all like just saying classic office cliches like, hey, have you heard of this Hawk Tuah girl? Or like, happy Monday. Or,
That does sound like fun.
yeah.
That sounds really good. Well,
And you should be able to buy it on Amazon through something. So,
Okay.
but also
Oh, yeah.
Steam and all
They
those
do
places.
sell games. I forget about that.
mine.
Skincare.
Nope. I am just leaning in to my new bracket, my new age bracket. It's a weekly pill organizer. This one I got for Wendy. Wendy is now on.
She's a senior dog now.
Yes, she's on multiple pills, even though after her surgery, she's supposed to be on fewer, but she's still on some of them. And I was just struggling every time. I was like, okay, it's the morning pills. God, which one is the morning pills? And then it's her, evening, which one is the evening? And like sort of having to figure it out each time. And we have a pill organizer, but it just has a compartment for each day. So I went on and I got this, and I'll put it in my store. It is by Feety, Featy, weekly pill organizer 2 times a day. And it's here, I'll show you guys a picture. It's got, each day has a little compartment, a little like pull out, a little thing that comes out with a morning and an evening. And it's rainbow colored. Each one is a different color.
You're in Alaska.
Right. It's only $6.99, but I don't know. It, for some reason, it has made it so much simpler. I do like that each day is a different color. I think if it were all the same color, I might get confused. But it's just, it's so cheap, and it has made giving her morning and evening pill so much easier. And that was podcast product pick. Okay, real fast, I'd like to say hello and welcome to the new patrons.
Alison wants to say thank you to a couple of special people out there who signed up to be new patrons. Patreon.com/AlisonRosen.
Hello and welcome to Kay, to KM Pert. Those are 2 different people. To Maura, to Kevin, to Alyssa Wones, who signed up at the BFF level, which means, Alyssa, your name's going on my website. To Mark, to Kelsey Telemontes, and to Danielle Maraglia. Hello. Welcome once again. Patreon.com/AlisonRosen. I would like to thank everyone for having, real fast. To the listeners, then I'm going to thank everyone in this room. You might have noticed you got an exclusive ad-free experience. People normally pay for that white label experience, guys, but I'm giving it to you for free. So in return, I just ask, if you're in a position, times are tough, please support my show, Patreon or Substack. Okay.
Substack.
Rob, where might we find you?
Hey, same thing. Patreon.com/VanderpumpRobs. There's a free version of the podcast too. But yeah, times are tough. I'd appreciate people going over there. There's an Instagram, Vanderpump Robs. All of those things. I will say at patreon.com/Vanderpump Robs right now, I did just put out a free episode that is like a clip show. I have some unique stuff in there too, but if people are wanting to dip their toes in, I've got some of my favorite clips of the last year over there in video and audio form.
Wonderful. Daniel?
I just set up an Only Dan's.
Ooh.
But you...
The milkman.
But you have to be named Dan to join it as well.
Oh, wow. It's so exclusive.
And it's just,
and
just
the pictures...
chat about being Dan. It's just pictures of me just being cool.
But are there pictures of other Dans?
Yeah, just me. But the only other people in the pictures are Dans as well.
That's what I'm saying.
It's only Dans. You can find me at Daniel Quantz, wherever. I don't know.
Great, Tony.
Just next Wednesday, September 18th, if you're in the LA area, Don't Stop or We'll Die is playing at Permanent Records Roadhouse. That's really about it right now.
Wonderful. Follow me everywhere. Find all my stuff. Go to AlisonsLinks.com and you can get to all my links. Okay, everyone, thank you so much, listeners. Thank you for listening. I love you. You matter. Goodbye.
Hey, do you know about the Alison Rosen Show?